Hello fellow Jeep enthusiasts, my name is Carl. I am a owner of a 2012 Jeep Patriot with the Freedom Drive 2 package, or FDII. That's how you typically see that written. This short video is about the 2 1/8 inch spacer lift available from Rocky Road Outfitters. I didn't do the install myself, and so I just want to go over that, since when I did it there's a lot of write-ups, but some of it applies to older Patriots, and I prefer a video. So just to start off with, the install was done back in January of 2013. It is now the July 1st of 2013, so I've had the lift about not quite 6 months. So just to look at the hardware, I took my wheel off on the front. I'll do a second video for the rear of the Patriot. This is just for the front suspension. So from underneath it is hard to see the lift, but if I move my camera up in there, you'll see that spacer lift. This is the that's the bottom of it, and it extends up, obviously. You can see the top of it there. Then come around to the top. You can see it here. This piece used to be flush, or actually stuck up above this ring here. And now it is down because obviously the spacer's in there. You see where it's red here, and then the black. So, and it's stuck up about, probably about that much up above. Now if I come in down here, the front installation I will definitely say is a lot easier to do than the rear. The most important thing to do is to support this piece here, where the axle comes in, down here at the bottom of the ball joint. Let me move my camera. So you just want to support that ball joint there. Reason being is if this descends too far, your axle will actually pop out, and fluids from the axle will actually pour out of the transaxle. So from experience, you want to make sure you support this well and don't let it drop too far, otherwise your axle will come out during the installation. So the first thing you do is you unhook the brake lines here. There's just one bolt, and this whole piece comes off. Be careful, because there is this piece of metal that comes out from the strut, and as you take the strut off, you don't want to catch these cables, because you don't want to ruin your brake line or the line for the ABS either. Then you undo these two bolts. The bottom bolt you will reuse. The top bolt is actually a new piece, which is for the alignment. You'll have to get an alignment done after you do the front and rear installation. Both the front and rear come with pieces to adjust the camber of the alignment, so you want to get that done for sure. Once you get these two undone, then you go up back on top, and you have these three bolts. And you undo those, and then you slowly, typically right now I just have this on a jack. You should have it on a jack stand. Oh, and you want to make sure that you have both ends up at the same height, otherwise the anti-roll bar, which is here, will have pressure on it from the other side, and it'll make manipulating it a lot more difficult. So you jack up both ends hang freely. It'll take a lot of stress off the suspension system, make it a lot easier. So you undo these two bolts, you undo the two top bolts. Oh, and you undo the sway bar here as well. And then this piece is part of the lift, so that it hits it correctly for the swing arm. And then you take it out, you install the spacer on top of the strut. One thing to make sure of is it's really hard to torque those bolts on correctly. I used a pry bar and then my wrench. I torqued them down as good as I could, and after about 4 months they started to come loose. So I took it into the dealer, and the dealer was very kind and tightened them down for me for free. The alignment also started to get loose, so they had to redo the alignment and tighten the spacer lift, and they did that for free for me. I had to pay the first time for the alignment to be done correctly. So and then you put this piece on here. It's kind of an L-shaped bracket. Typically the link for the sway bar goes in here. This extends it up about an inch and a half or so for the sway bar. You put this back on. You put this new bolt in here for the alignment, and you put this one in. These are done in by pressure, so you actually have to hammer them out and hammer them back in. And then you put it back in. I use the jack to lower it. Like I said, I typically have it on jack stands when you're working on it, and that way you can use the jack to raise and lower the suspension piece to get it in there, because you lower it as far as you can before the axle actually will start to slide out. So that you slide this in, you put these two pieces in, and then you use it to lift it back up, and then install these 3 bolts. So if you can, you want to make sure the 3 bolts that you install up on this piece, if I can get my camera back up in there. So you kind of see that stud right there in the middle of the screen. That's the bottom. On top of that is where you use the bolt. And you want to make sure you get that. One other thing is if you're using your stock rims, I have the 17-inch rims. I'll show you in just a second. This is a 1 1/4 inch spacer with 5 by 4.5 bolt pattern on there. I have hub centric, which is nice because your wheel stays on there tighter. It's kind of a pain when you take your wheel off. Sometimes it can be pretty tough to get it off there, especially if you see here, I don't currently have any grease on there. I did, but I went and got an alignment done. I think they probably wiped it off or something, or it needed to be reapplied. I forgot to give them my tube of grease. So before I go and put this back together, I'll put some just some lithium grease on here, which next time I go to take my wheel off, it'll come off a lot easier. I had to use a rubber mallet to get it off this time by hitting back and forth until it came off. So I got this on eBay. It was pretty inexpensive. I spent about $100 for a set of 4 of them. Is 2 for about $50, and then I had to buy 4, obviously. Here's the stock rim for 2012. I have Falcon Rocky Mountain tires. They're a discount tire exclusive, but they're the exact same as the Wild Peaks. I have them in a 245/65/17 size, which is a pretty wide tire, especially for the Patriot, which comes stock with 215 wide. So it's a difference of about 3 centimeters, so it's a little bit more than a full inch wider than the stock tire size. And then obviously that it's 65, so it gives you a little bit more rubber. The stock tire is only about so tall, so it definitely gives you quite a bit more tread. I put about not quite 10,000 miles on these tires. I really like them, but they've started to get a little bit noisy. So I don't know if I'll use them again, because we do, this isn't a strictly off-road vehicle. It does do a lot of city miles, so I'm thinking I might get 2 sets of tires, put some street tires on here, and then get a second set of rims that are 15-inch instead of 17-inch with some mud terrain tires on there. The mud terrains will be a similar size to these, but the street tires will probably be closer to stock, probably a 225/65 or maybe a 235. I haven't decided yet. I got a lot of tread left on these, obviously, so that's down the road. One thing, if you're going to go with a much bigger size, the 245/65, which comes out to about a 90 by, a 30 by 9.5 inch. This pinch weld here had to be modified, obviously. I just took a box cutter, cut off the plastic, and just took a hammer and smashed it down. And did that to both sides. I was rubbing here pretty bad. I rub here a little bit, there and there. I rub it here a little bit. I rubbed here and here before I did the lift. I actually got the tires in December, put them on without spacers or lift. Without any of that, I rubbed here and here real bad. I lost a significant portion of my turning radius. With that, I put the spacers on, and then I rubbed here, and it was undrivable because I couldn't turn my wheel. It didn't rub here when I straight on, but if I turned it all, it would rub here real bad. So after I got the lift on, I could do the spacers, push the wheel out, and I rub really only if I go over a bump that really compresses the suspension up if I'm off-roading, which isn't too bad because you know, I'm going at pretty low speeds when I'm doing that. So if you have any questions or thoughts, please feel free to comment to my video. I will be posting probably in the next week or so a video for the rear axle. So if you have any questions for that, please ask, and I will definitely make sure I answer as many questions as possible for the rear before I or when I record that video. So subscribe to my channel so you can be notified of that video when it comes out. Alright, thank you very much.